Hello student, good morning to everyone. Dear class 9th students, I am preparing this video just because as your upcoming exams are there, so I think we should have a complete revision as you should not have any doubt anything else if you will watch this video completely. So let's begin. So dear students, in this chapter we are going to start studying about the fundamental unit of life. Means we will have a complete revision of our chapter number 2, fundamental unit of life, which is cell. Okay. So dear students, if we talk about the definition of the cell, so what is the definition? Cell is the structure and functional unit of life. Means we can say that our whole body is made up of cells only, and these all cells are functional. Okay, now let's talk about the discoveries related to cell. Means who are the scientists who have given their contribution in the discovery related to cell. So first scientist we are going to study about Robert Hooke. So as you know that in 1665 Robert Hooke, actually he was trying to discover cell, but actually he did not discover cell but discovered what cork like structure which was only cell wall. So if I draw here that it was like the structure of honeycomb. Okay, so the Robert Hooke termed them as a cell, but remember that it was not actually a cell. Okay, then here comes the scientist Robert Brown. Robert Brown discovered nucleus. Then next scientist is Dudarjin. Dudarjin discovered protoplasm. Okay, what is protoplasm? It is liquid inside the cell. But do remember that the Dudarjin named it as a sarcode. So what we should say that Dudarjin actually discovered sarcode, not protoplasm. So word protoplasm was given by scientist Purkinje. As we remember that P2P, Purkinje and protoplasm. So which scientist should be given the whole credit of discovering a cell? So as of as okay, so as of discovery, I think the Anthony von Leeuwenhoek is the scientist who actually discovered free living cell. Okay, and it was bacteria. So we should say that the discovery of bacteria and the discovery of living cell both should be given to Anthony von Leeuwenhoek. Okay, now let us talk about the cell theory. So if we talk about cell theory, so it was given by two different scientists. One was Sheldon and another was Schwann. Okay, so Sheldon was actually a botanist and Schwann was a zoologist. So both scientists were working different on different projects, but they came to on the same aspects. Means they came on the same results. Okay, so what are the results? They told that all living organisms are composed of cells. They told that our whole body is made up of different types of cell, and cell is the fundamental unit of life, which is we already have studied in the definition of cell. Now here comes after Sheldon and Schwann one more scientist named Rudolf Virchow. Rudolf Virchow actually has given the modern cell theory. He has the main thing is that the Sheldon and Schwann were not able to see that the new cells come from where. Actually they were asked that how the cells are formed, so they were not able to give the answer. So this answer was given by scientist Rudolf Virchow. He told that all the cells arise from pre-existing cells. What did he say? That the new cells come from old cells. Okay, so this concept was given in the form of modern cell theory by Rudolf Virchow. Now let us talk about types of organism. So if we talk about the types of organism, there are two types: unicellular. As the name suggests, these all are made up of single cell only. Example: amoeba, paramecium and bacteria. Also, if the body is made up of multiple cells, then it is called multicellular organism. Example: plant, human beings and animals. Now there is a different criteria to classify a cell on the basis of nucleus. So dear students, there are two types of cells. One is prokaryotic cell and another is eukaryotic cell. So first of all, let us understand the meaning of prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So if we talk about pro, so pro means primitive. Pro means what? Primitive. And karyos means what? Nucleus. So what will be the definition of the prokaryotic cell? A primitive type of nucleus is called prokaryotic cell, where the true nucleus is absent. For example, archaebacteria and bacteria and blue-green algae are the example of what? Prokaryotic cell. Now if you talk about eukaryotic cell, so let us understand the meaning of eukaryotic. So eu means actually true and karyon means nucleus. Okay, so if true type of nucleus is there, so what do you meaning by true type of nucleus? Okay, so I am drawing here one diagram, is that consider this as a cell. Okay, suppose this is a cell, so here it is a nucleus. Okay, here it is nucleus. So if the proper membrane around nucleus is present, then it is called eukaryotics. Okay, you means true. So this is the meaning of prokaryotic and eukaryotic. So if we talk about prokaryotic cells, so their nucleus is absent, and if we talk about eukaryotic cell, their nucleus is present, and examples are both unicellular and multicellular organism except bacteria and blue green algae. Okay, now let us talk about the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So as we discussed here that the mostly prokaryotics are unicellular, okay, and the eukaryotics are mostly multicellular as well as unicellular also. In prokaryotic, nucleus is poorly defined. What do you mean by poorly defined? A proper membrane is not there over the nucleus and absence of nuclear membrane. And if we talk about eukaryotics, a proper nucleus is there, nucleus is well defined and surrounded by a nuclear membrane, and the nucleolus is absent. So what is nucleolus? Once again let us draw a diagram of cell. Consider this is a cell and this is nucleus, and in this nucleus one more cell organelle is also there, which is called nucleolus. Okay, so here the nucleolus is absent in prokaryotic cells, but in eukaryotic cells nucleolus is present. We can say that the nucleus is the brain of cell and nucleolus is the brain of nucleus. Okay, now cell organelles, some developed cell organelles like plastids, mitochondria, Golgi body, these are absent in prokaryotics, but all are present in eukaryotics. And examples bacteria and blue green algae are prokaryotic cells, and other like fungi, plant and animal cells are eukaryotic cells. Okay, now here see the different type of shapes of cells. If we divide cells on the basis of cell shape, so there are multiple shapes, like you can see the muscles, the shape of muscle cell is different from blood cell, sperm cell. Sperm cell especially it is motile in nature, it can move from one place to another. See the shape of skin cell and see the shape of nerve cells. So we can also divide cells on the basis of shapes. Now let us talk the difference between animal cell and plant cell. Okay, so if animal cell, if we talk about animal cells, so they are generally small in size, and if we talk about plant cells, so they are larger as compared to animal cells. And the special feature is that animal cells do not have cell wall, where the plant cell it is having cell wall, and if it is green then it will be made up of cellulose. Then plastid, which are responsible for photosynthesis, are not present in animal cell except some of the protozoan like euglena, and here in the plant cell plastids are present. Here the vacuoles are small. We have studied that vacuole are what do you mean by vacuole? So once again I am drawing here a diagram that if this is a cell, so the hollow, this is vacuole. Vacuole is what? Vacuole is a empty space. Okay, we can say that it is the storehouse. Why storehouse? Because if there is a storehouse in our house, so we keep all the all the important material in the storehouse. So similarly cell keep all the important material like food and sometimes wastage also, and cell sap. Cell sap means the sugar solution in the cell. So these all are kept in the vacuole. So mainly in plant cell the cell sap is very bigger. Okay, means we can say that the vacuoles are many but in small, in which animal cell. But if we talk about plant cell, so plant has having a permanent and large vacuole. Okay, this vacuole makes the cell lightweight. Okay, lightweight. That's why the plants are able to float upon the water, and they are having centrosome and centriole. This is the feature of animal cell, but plant cell lacks centrosome and centrioles. Okay, let us understand. Now we are going to understand different type of cell organelles. So first cell organelle is plasma membrane. So if we talk about plasma membrane, so it is the outer covering of the cell. Here you can see on the diagram that it is the outer covering of the cell, and it is the living part of the cell. Okay, it is very thin and it is very delicate. It is having elastic in nature, and the most important thing there is that it is selectively permeable. Okay, so what does it mean selectively permeable? It only allows certain material. Okay, it only allows certain material, means it do not allow every material to pass across. There are only certain material who can go inside the cell and who can go outside the cell. So this function is performed by cell membrane. That is why it is called semi permeable membrane or selective permeable membrane, because it selects the material, that which material will pass the cell or not. Then the outer side of the cell membrane, it is cell wall. Cell wall is generally non living, and it is covering of it is the covering made up of cellulose. We have discussed that the cellulose is a green in nature. Okay, and if you talk about, so what is the function of the cell wall? So it is that cell wall is dead and very strengthful. Okay, it is very hard in nature, so it gives shape and rigidity to the plant. It protects the plasma membrane, which is delicate inside. It prevents dryness, and it is also responsible for the transport of various substances in the form of xylem and phloem, and also it prevents dryness in the cell, that we have also discussed. Okay, now let us talk about the next cell organelle, which is very important, is nucleus. So what is nucleus? As you can see in the diagram, it is spherical organ, and it is having a fluid called nucleoplasm, and it also contains chromosome. Okay, and you know very well that the chromosome having genes, and genes contain genetic information. What are the functions of nucleus? So nucleus is having the chromosome, that's why it control all the metabolic activity, because all the codes, all the information are stored in the genetic in the form of genetic information in the chromosome. Okay, it regulates cell cycle, and it also transmits heredity. Heredity means transfer of characters from one generation to another. So as we know that the chromosome goes from one generation to another, so that's why it is responsible for the heredity, parents to offspring. Okay, now let us talk about the next cell organelle, which is Golgi apparatus. So if we talk about Golgi apparatus, so here you can see it is flattened structure, and it is 2D diagram, it is 3D diagram, and these are having some spherical uh, organs also, spherical structures also, they are called vesicles. Okay, so these are vesicles and having vacuoles and flattened, these are flat in structure, and these are loosely sacs. Okay, what are the function? The function of Golgi body is to store, modify and package and dispatch of substances. So the Golgi apparatus performs different functions. The Golgi word has taken from the scientist Camillo Golgi, who discovered Golgi apparatus, and the function of the Golgi apparatus is also synthesis of cell wall. This is the very important function of the Golgi apparatus, that it synthesizes cell wall, and also plasma membrane and lysosomes, means also responsible for the production of different cell organelles. Now let us talk about endoplasmic reticulum. So endoplasmic reticulum, so these are the networks of tube-like structures, and it is absent in prokaryotic cells. Okay, endoplasmic reticulum, and it is also absent in the RBC of mammals. Okay, if we talk about the word endoplasmic reticulum, so word endo means inside. Okay, and word reticulum, the word reticulum means network. So these are network like structure inside the cell. This is the meaning of endoplasmic reticulum. They are having two types. One is rough endoplasmic reticulum, they are having rough surface, and another are smooth endoplasmic reticulum, they are having smooth surface. Why they are rough? Because the ribosomes are present over them, that makes them rough, and if ribosomes are absent, then they are smooth in nature. Okay, here you can see the diagram of rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. On rough endoplasmic reticulum there are also ribosomes are present there. Okay, so now the next organ is ribosome. Okay, so ribosome, they are the spherical organs which are free in matrix. They may be also attached to endoplasmic reticulum, just we have studied, and ribosome along with endoplasmic reticulum, so they are the responsible for the synthesis of protein. Okay, and one more important thing we have missed here is that the rough endoplasmic reticulum, here the rough endoplasmic reticulum are responsible for the synthesis and transportation of protein, and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum is responsible for the synthesis and transportation of lipid. So here you can see the difference. Once again I am telling you, the difference is that the rough endoplasmic reticulum is responsible for synthesis of protein and smooth is responsible for the synthesis of lipid. This is the important point. If we talk about mitochondria, so they are rod shaped organelles and are having double membrane, and every fold is called cristae. Okay, here you can see the cristae are formed. If I draw for you, then these are the structure like this, and they are called what? Cristae. They contain their own DNA. The very important fact is that they contain their own DNA and own ribosome. Means this is the special feature of mitochondria, that they are having their own DNA. One interesting fact is that the mitochondria also called, what also called, a cell within the cell. Means it is a cell like structure in the cell. Okay, so mitochondria is very important in the cell, and in bacteria and red blood cells mitochondria are absent. So if you will observe that the most of the cell organelles are absent in red blood cells, because red blood cells are especially featured to carry oxygen, and it requires much space in the cell. So that is why for giving space to the oxygen, most of the cell organelles are absent. Okay. Now let us talk about centrosome and centrioles. Okay, so here you can see the structure. Why it is called centrosome? Because generally it is in the center of the cell, and if you see the structure, so on the above surface they are seems to like a star, and we have already discussed the centrosome and centriole are the special feature of eukaryotic animal cell. They are hollow cylindrical structure. You can see these are the cylindrical in nature and they are hollow. They play important role in cell division, and in some of the cell they are the responsible for the development of cilia and flagella, and cilia and flagella are the structures that allow a cell to be a motile, means to move from one place to another. The next cell organelle are plastids. Okay, so what are plastids? So plastids are mainly present in plant cells and they are absent in animal cells. Okay, and plastid having three types. One is chloroplast, another are chromoplast, and third is leucoplast. The word chloro means colorful, so sorry, word chloro means green, so the chloroplast, it is green in color and having chlorophyll. And you, as you know very well, if the chlorophyll is present, then the cell will be responsible for photosynthesis. If we talk about chromoplast, the word chromo means colorful, so they are colorful except green, because green color are known as chloroplast. And the word leuco, so the word leuco represents white. Okay, so they are colorless, they are white in color. What are the function of these plastids? So if we talk about chloroplast, okay, so they are the responsible for photosynthesis and generate energy, and chromoplast, they gives colors to flower which are responsible for pollination, and leucoplast, these are white in color and they are responsible for storing food. Now the next important cell organelle is lysosome. So lysosome, they are like ribosome. They are small, spherical, and they contain, very important fact, they contain many digestive enzymes, means they are having capacity to digest any material, and they are mostly found in animals. Okay, what are the functions? If we talk about the function, so if we have just studies that they are having digestive enzymes, that's why they are responsible for digestion of foreign substances. If any foreign material or any foreign living organism attacks on our cell, so our cell is having lysosome, which gives production of digestive enzyme, and digestive enzyme digest them all. Okay, and the cell organelles which are going very old and not functioning well, so they also, the lysosome also digest all those cell organelles, and in this form we can say that they are the responsible for the protection from bacteria and virus, because the bacteria and virus if attacks on us, so the lysosome makes the production of digestive enzymes and digest all the bacteria and virus and keep us safe. Okay, so we can say that they are the cleaner of our cell. The very important thing is that they are also called suicidal bags. Okay, so why do they call our suicidal bags? Because they burst and enzymes are produced, and sometimes this enzyme can digest their own cell. Okay, if the cell get very old, so it can be digested by lysosome. The next thing we have already discussed about vacuoles. So they are solid or liquid filled. Okay, here you can see a big there is a big vacuole. Here you can observe there is a big vacuole. It is the vacuole of plant cell. Okay, so in plant cell they are permanent, in animal cell they are small and temporary, and it occupies 90% of the space in plant cell. What are the function? To maintain the osmotic pressure. So in further in this class only we will also study osmosis. So there you will understand what is osmotic pressure. It gives rigidity to the cell, and the next cell organelle is peroxisomes. Okay, so they are like ribosome and lysosome. They are small and spherical, and they are powerful oxidative enzymes. They are having powerful oxidative enzymes. Okay, and they are mainly found in kidney and liver cells. What are the functions? Function, as they are containing oxidative enzymes, so they do oxidative reaction, and they are mainly found in kidney and liver, and sorry, in the liver. So they do detoxification or removal of the toxic substance. Okay, so peroxisomes are mainly feature of liver. Okay, now let us talk about the difference between diffusion and osmosis. Okay, so what is diffusion? So take an example. If you will burn a stick here, अगर आप एक अगरबत्ती यहाँ पर जलाएंगे, so the fragrance will goes into the whole room. Okay, the fragrance you can smell from the whole room. Why? Because of diffusion. Okay, because these all solute molecules are going from higher concentrations. Try to understand very carefully, because here the concentration is higher, and from the far on the room the concentration is lower, of which solute, the concentration of solute is lower. So the movement of solute particle from higher concentration to lower concentration without any membrane is called diffusion. So diffusion, it can place in any medium. Okay, in any medium diffusion can be placed. But what is osmosis? In osmosis it is only it only happens in the liquid medium, because in osmosis the movement of solvent from its lower concentration, sorry, its higher concentration to lower concentration, मीन्स जहाँ वाटर कम है से, सॉरी, जहाँ वाटर ज़्यादा है से वो मूव करता है जहाँ वाटर कम है, इन सिंपल लैंग्वेज. ओके, सो I have just discussed you that in diffusion no membrane is required, and in osmosis semi-permeable. Okay, remember, semi-permeable membrane is required. In diffusion the molecules may be the solid, liquid or gaseous, and in osmosis the molecules only are liquid, and these are the movement of only solvent molecules occurs. Okay, movement of no solute in osmosis. It depends on the free energy, है ना, ये without any energy the diffusion takes place. Okay, and in osmosis osmotic pressure is required. okay, and because of osmotic pressure it happens, and the molecules are affected by the presence of other molecules, because it mainly depends on the concentration of a mixture. And mixture, what is mixture? Mixture is a combination of solvent and solute, okay. An equilibrium in the free energy is diffusing molecule is achieved, तो है ना, ये diffusion will happen till the equilibrium is achieved. Also here the movement of solvent will happen until equilibrium is achieved, okay. Let me draw here that if it is a cell and if it is kept, if it is kept in a pot, okay, and in this pot it is filled with water, ठीक है. So this water, because here the water is more, and if you talk in the cell the water is less. So what the rule of osmosis says? The rule of osmosis says that the movement of water will happen from the where the water is higher to where the water is low, okay. So inside the cell water is low, so the movement of water will happen inside the cell. This is all called osmosis. If we talk about the different types of solutions, so there are hypertonic solutions, or isotonic solution, and hypotonic solutions. Okay, what is hypertonic solution? Hypertonic solution is that we are talking about the solution of outside, okay. Means यहाँ हम किसकी बात कर रहे हैं? Solution of outside. If the surrounding medium, uh, if the surrounding medium, the cell has a lower concentration than the inside the cell, okay. Means if there is a more concentration outside and less concentration inside, so the water will move from inside to outside. This is called hyper. Hyper means more. Hyper means what? Hyper means more, okay. So if concentration is more, and generally we talk concentration in the form of solute, okay. If I am talking about concentration, so consider it as a concentration of solute. So if more solute is outside and less solute is inside, so the solvent will move from inside to outside. Iso means same, okay. So if same type of concentration is there, so either no movement of liquid will be there or equilibrium will be set here, okay. And hypotonic solution is opposite of hypertonic, okay. If the concentration is more inside the cell and less outside the cell, so the outside solution is known as hypotonic solution, because hypo means less, so water will move from outside to inside and this cell will be swollen up, okay. So this is all types of solution. Now let us talk about active transport and passive transport. So what is active transport? Active means which required energy. This is called active transport. It happens again the concentration gradient. The gradient word means difference. So it happens against the concentration difference. And if we talk about passive transport, means the molecule move from one place to another without having no energy, without requirement of energy, and it is along with the concentration gradient, okay. It requires energy. Active transport require energy. Passive transport required no energy. It is rapid because energy is involved here. It is slow, the movement of lower molecule here and the movement of solvent here. What is endocytosis? That we are have come to our last topic, endocytosis and exocytosis. Endo means inside, okay. So if something goes inside, see the diagram here. If one bacteria is there, so this amoeba will produce pseudopods, means the false foot will develop around this bacteria, because because the amoeba want to kill this bacteria. So this amoeba will go inside this bacteria will go inside the cell, and this cell will digest this bacteria, and after digestion the waste will be removed. So this is called endocytosis. Endo means inside, the bacteria is going inside the cell, that's why it is called endocytosis, okay. And the last topic is exocytosis. Exo means outside, so it is opposite to endocytosis. If the waste is removal, like you can say here some vesicles are there, these vesicles are going to the surface, and this surface these all are removed, these all wastage are removed. This process is known as exocytosis. So I hope you would have understand the whole topic here. We have revised each and every topic of this chapter. Okay, and if you have seen this video and if you revise by this video, you are not you need not to study more, you just go through this video. Okay, so this is all for today. We will meet in next video. Thank you very much and all the best for your exam.